Hi guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 2nd of September 2019. The time is 23:55 GMT time. I'll apologise now because my nose is very blocked. I don't know, I think I've eaten something that's some hidden ingredient in something that I ate earlier and it's flared up. My allergy is really bad, so I'm going to apologise now if I sound really groggy. But I saw a response from pzw0803 and you've asked some questions. So this is in response to what you posted. Before I continue, you say here, for example, this weekly CAD Japanese yen chart, I see a reversal, so on and so on. But the chart that you've posted is actually CAD Swiss, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to. So I'm going to do both. Okay, so you've got CAD Swiss here and the CAD Japanese yen here. I'm going to go through both of them for you and just give you some ideas of what I see. It might, hopefully help you to deduce, what you're seeing. But before I do that, what I will say is, you mention here, I have to say, I have trouble deciding on the direction. Where does liquidity lie? Every time I ask myself this, I second guess myself. I cannot seem to pick a direction, so on and so on. Expect to, moving in one direction, order blocks, stop reversers, etc., etc. Okay, so first things first. Okay, the sort of person that I am. Okay, when I learn something, and I'm not going to go off on a rant, but when I learn something from somebody, okay, who claims one thing or another, it doesn't matter who it is, anybody, okay, I'll break it down and I'll look at it for months and months and months and months until I feel comfortable that it either works or it doesn't, okay, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, then I'll dismiss it and I'll move on to something else, okay, because I'm always looking to learn. I've been trading 23 years and I'm still learning something new every day, right? And that's not a cliche. I actually learn something new every day. There's always some small nuance that you can pick up from the marketplace. But I think one of the biggest issues, okay, with, I'm not going to go into the person, but a particular person who teaches online and has become very vocal recently. In fact, pretty much the entire time that he's been online, he's been very vocal, but he teaches, liquidity, above and below highs and things like this. Let's just be frank and clear about something, okay? There is liquidity at every price level. There has to be. Anybody that tells you different doesn't understand what's going on in the marketplace. It doesn't matter how long they've been trading. Think about it logically. Right now, CAD Swiss, on my chart anyway, at least at my broker, is at 74.33, right? So there has to be trade facilitated at 74.33, yeah? Some people subscribe to buying and selling pressures. Some people subscribe to manipulation. Some people subscribe to this idea there's an algo. Some people subscribe to the idea of support and resistance. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you think or believe, about how the market moves, it makes no difference because the same logic applies to liquidity. If price is moving in one direction or the other, it has to facilitate trade at that price level, okay? And if it's facilitating trade at that price level, there is liquidity at that price level. Now, that doesn't mean there's enough liquidity at that price level to fulfill whatever objective is needed to be fulfilled. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there has to be liquidity there. Now, price will reach for certain areas, and we can see those areas on the price chart. When we're looking at certain things, old highs, old lows, we expect there to be stops or liquidity there. And if price drives towards those levels, then that gives us a little bit of a roadmap, and a clearer picture that there is a larger liquidity pool there, for them to facilitate trade or to fulfill objectives or their orders or whatever. Okay, but there's liquidity everywhere at every price level. That's the first thing. The second thing is stop runs. Okay, a lot of what we see, and I'm just going back over your post a second. There's stuff around this, obviously. The other thing is about stop runs. Okay, so stop runs are pretty much the same as liquidity. If you call it a stop or you call it liquidity, it doesn't really make a difference. As long as you believe that there are stops or liquidity there and you have read price well enough to expect a drive into that level, that's all that matters. Okay, so going back to you and this kind of indecision this inability to be able to, to decide which way price is going. This is a function of two things. The first thing is time, okay, and experience. If you don't have, enough time under your belt or enough experience being in the marketplace to see a lot of different market conditions, most of this stuff is going to be very alien to you, very frustrating to you, very difficult. Whereas when you stick in or focus on one concept or one idea and stay there for long enough to see whether that idea works or not, then you have more experience, and then you start to see more market conditions playing out, and this gives you a better idea of which liquidity pool is likely to get ran out. So if we look at the weekly chart here of CAD Swiss, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump over to the monthly, and you can see, from sort of here onwards, we're going sideways, okay, but there has been a significant stop run here, okay, so we had a nice drop here, okay, you can see the low was taken out here, and I'm just using this section of price action here. Why this section and not going as far back as here? Because this is the closest stop run of significance. This is a monthly chart, so it's obviously a big deal, okay, and think about what's happened. We have a low here, swing point, okay, sideways price action. We had a really nice month lower here, takes out the liquidity below this low and then reverses. Okay, this is one entire month and then another entire month, and then it's pretty much been going sideways ever since. But you can see that there's a lot of liquidity building up above here, okay, and then if we go to the latest month, or that last month, sorry, we had a nice drive lower, takes out any liquidity that's below here, okay, with that drop. Then we've had a nice sort of rejection or push higher, okay, and we finished up a third of the entire range. Now we've just kind of opened flat, okay, for this month of September. We're only 2 days into September, okay. So if we go back to the weekly, we can see, and I'll just pick this high for now, there's that nice stop run, beautiful push higher, okay. Start to pay attention to what it doesn't do. Yeah, what price doesn't do, all right, not what it has done, right, or what it is doing. Yeah, start to change the way that you think. What hasn't price done? We know what it's done here. Had a nice stop run, okay, but when it ran higher, it didn't take out this high. It didn't take out this high. I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, it didn't take out this high. I do apologize. Didn't take out this high. It's because I'm using a trackpad. I'm touching it with both hands. Didn't take out this high here. So you've got 3 highs that it didn't take out. All right. It could have very easily from here, if you just look at the range, ran another 30 or 40 so pips just to take out at least some of this liquidity, but it didn't. Right. It just ran up there and reversed. Okay. So it hovered around here for a little while. It came lower, respected some area down here, came higher, and again didn't take out this high. Okay, so we've had no liquidity taken here, we've had no liquidity taken here. It comes back up, and again we have a third. So we've got these ones, we've got the second one, we've got the third one, comes up again, doesn't take out any highs, it comes all the way down, okay, to take out liquidity below here, and now it starts to kind of run higher a little bit. Okay, so where are we likely to be going next? The issue with order flow and the order flow shift and potential directional bias that you're looking for can become very, very tricky, okay, unless you understand the nuances behind price action and the true order flow. And I know it might seem like I'm kind of, going around in circles, but there's so much going on this chart, and it's very difficult for me to kind of talk about everything all in one video, okay, and if you have more questions, then obviously I'll do my best to answer those. But what I'm trying to do at the minute is I'm trying to give you a feel for where the major turning point is, in terms of not an intermediate or a longer term high or low, but where the turning point was. The turning point was down here. So if a load or if, we'll think about it like this, might be easier to explain it this way. If whatever idea you subscribe to, whether it's smart money, investors, the bank, the algo, the supply and demand idea, big money, it doesn't matter, just pick one that works for you, whatever the case may be. If, we'll call them they, are long massive amounts of money here. Okay, so they're holding a huge long position down here. Right, price starts to grind higher, starts to grind higher, starts to grind higher. They need to offload that somewhere, and the only way that they can do that is by pairing their orders where there is liquidity. Okay, and we know it came up here. And there's liquidity at every level, so it's pairing orders, they're offloading, offloading, but it doesn't come all the way up here, right, to take out liquidity. Okay, so they drop price here, maybe to pick up some more longs, comes back up again, drops again to take more longs. Okay, anybody that went long here, they take them out here, just there. Okay, and then anybody that went long there, they take them out here. Okay, so you have a low taken here, you have a low taken here, and you have a really nice pop away from that, and again comes all the way down. So think about it, manipulation. There's a lot of people going long here, they get stopped out. Some people go long here, they get stopped out. Anybody that's going long down here, this is quite a deep, sharp drop into the down candle, or the order block, as you mentioned. Okay, and if we are to believe that this major stop run down here, this run on liquidity was strong enough, it came from here, the start of the move was here, nice drop. This has taken weeks and weeks to come all the way down here, scoop up all of that liquidity, and comes all the way back up. So this, for me personally, is just a run back into an area where they're capitalizing, moving higher a little bit, and I would expect at least a run to, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit now. I would expect at least a run to the low and potentially the open up here. So this is the area for me that makes the most sense. Okay, and we'll drop down to the daily to kind of flesh this out a little bit. Okay, so even from where we're at right now, we're talking about 40 pips to around about 90 pips, so 40 to 90 pip range, and price can stop at any point, going up, but I would expect at least the previous week's high to be taken, and then potentially run up into this area a little bit more, and again, all based on this, this major stop run, liquidity run down here, and the fact that we've been taking lows, stop runs, stop run. Okay, and then we're a nice push, and we have all of this liquidity up here. You also have to factor in the strength or the weakness, or relative strength or weakness, of the Canadian dollar. Okay, and there's a lot of other things that you can do here. By doing some cross-pair analysis with the Canadian dollar, with other currencies, and also paying attention to what the dollar's doing, and then obviously paying attention to what crude oil is doing as well. Okay, but again, I mean, if I go through all of this, I'm going to be here for hours. So I'm going to drop down to the daily, just kind of give more of a. I'm just having a quick look through the chart, so you can see, and I'll put the dividers on so you can see. And to be fair, that doesn't help me, so I'm going to take those off. I'm just trying to make it as clean as I possibly can for you, so you can see this was that stop run down here that was taken, and again, those lows down here, they were taken on all of this. Okay, and then prices just kind of proceeded to get very messy and kind of just grinding higher. But you can see we have an imbalance here. We also have an imbalance up here. Okay, so there are, again, reasons that price should effectively be running at least to take out the previous week's high, this high here, and then potentially running up into or past that level by at least another 10 or 15, 20 pips or so. If we drop down to the 4 hour, and I'm just looking for the stop run to the downside, so we've had a nice stop run there, taking out the liquidity here. Nice run, takes out the high, shallow pullback, pop, small breakout, consolidating sideways. So again, what I would like to see on this going forward, again, I'm not going to drop any lower than the 4 hour, but what I would like to see is at least a run down to this level. And again, this is all for study. A run down to this level, rejection. So a drop lower, rejection, and then continuation higher. And the range you have to play with is, if we take from here to here is at least 60 pips or so, and then potentially around about 100 pips or so. So you've got a decent range above you. And again, going back to the reasoning behind all of this, it's this stop run. This is a major stop run. Now, I'm not saying it's going to come all the way up here and take out all of this liquidity, but think about it. This is pretty significant down here. Whereas the last upside liquidity run or stop run was there. That high on that pop right there. Okay. And then you have a high, very small stop run just there. So this high and this candle, very small stop run, but essentially liquidity, 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 but all the downside liquidity has been taken. Is it possible this continues lower? Of course, absolutely. But if nothing else, I would at least expect a run above the previous week's high. And again, if it was something that I'd be considering, which I'm not, and I'm certainly not, I'm certainly not telling you to. It's not trade advice, but if it was something that that I was considering myself, I'd like to see lower prices first, and then a nice reversal, and pick something up. Not down here. I like confirmation. I don't anticipate trades. I prefer to see a nice drop, rejection, confirmation that it is indeed doing what I expect, and going for this this liquidity up here, and then I'd be sort of looking to potentially take along somewhere in this area, as long as the risk makes sense and the range that I have to play with is still there. All right, so that's the Canadian Swiss, and then Canadian Japanese yen, slightly different, and obviously this is because the Japanese yen is not the same as the Swiss. And I don't just mean in currency, I just mean in the way that it's been moving recently. And you can see on the monthly, it would actually make more sense that this could potentially be dropping lower, or at least holding while the Canadian dollar Swiss runs higher a little bit. But drop. So look, I mean, you have, I'm just going through this, sorry, 1 second. So this is the monthly. You can see a really nice drop last month, okay, and almost no retracement on that last portion. Okay, so we're down in the lower, the lower section of that that previous monthly range, and we're having a nice little pop here, but nothing special. That small area of relief right there. Okay, and I'm gonna do the whole candle. We've just dropped down to the daily. You can see a lot of work's been done here. A lot of work. This is not enough for me. These gap, gap fill plus run, another gap down, maybe a run higher, okay, but I would expect the Canadian Japanese yen to hold. I'm not expecting much more on this. The Canadian Swiss is much cleaner for me, much cleaner. But going back to what you were, your original question, just to give you guys, just to give you some ideas, and this is specifically to what you were saying. Take your time. Don't be in a rush. Forgive yourself for not, being able to deduce, the direction of whatever you're looking at. Try not to use words like directional bias, or bullish or bearish, okay? Because these are labels that people get married to, and your brain hears the word bullish and it thinks prices should be going higher. Here's the word bearish and it thinks prices should be going lower. Look for liquidity. Okay, and one of the easiest things to do as a study, and something that you can use as a starting basis if you don't understand the order flows, the shifts in price, the shift in order flows, and you can't read price, you can't see where the orders are, you can't see, the fulfillment of one side and then the absolute need to go and run, the other side, and so on and so on. Start with the stop run. Find the most recent stop run on the daily or the weekly, and try to map forward from that stop run how price has moved and why it's moving the way it's moving, and get a feel for where you should be going next. Okay, the longer you stick around, I'll be showing a lot more stuff. I'm a big fan of posting videos and doing video commentary. So if you hang around, I will be sharing some some basic ideas that will definitely help you going forward. All right, so I hope this video helps you. If you have any more questions, please feel free to post them. I won't always respond as quickly as I have tonight. It's just I had a bit of free time, but I definitely will respond and get back to you or anybody else that posts. And again, I hope it helps. I wish you all the best, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.